Take a quick opportunity to thank Coach and the entire ADT community for being so open and welcoming to me back in January of 2024. I came here for the pure purpose of wanting some extra spending money for coffee and manicures, believe it or not. And I soon realized when I got here that this was so much more than just coffee and manicures. It was a community of people. It was a community of traders who all have everyone's best interest. And I can't be more grateful for the opportunity. You know, because of ADT, I no longer have to work 9 to 5. Like, I no longer have to miss my kids' stuff. I get to be there for them. I get to get up every single day and I get to day trade with my people and I get to help the community. I never thought that I would ever have that freedom to be able to do that. So thank you, Coach, for creating this community at American Dream Trading. Thank you for pouring your heart and soul into this business. I am so grateful to be a moderator and to be a part of the team, and I look forward to where you go from here.
Welcome to the Aftermarket. American Dream Trading. You have entered the Aftermarket. AmericanDreamTrading.com. Welcome. You are now in the Aftermarket.
Welcome to American Dream Trading's The Aftermarket Live Chat and Watch Party. I'm your host, JJ Video Reacts, and this is a stream that's been created by traders for traders to just kick back, relax, and decompress after a day of trading in the stock market. Tonight, we have got a special surprise for you. Ange, who is our moderator, who is actually heading up the futures training, is going to come on here tonight and give us some pointers on how to get your mind right when trading futures, the mindset that you should be in. And she's going to go over some bullet points tonight. So for those of you that have thought about trading futures or are in the futures training or thinking about getting into the futures training, I'm sure Ange will be able to answer a lot of questions because she has been successfully trading it for the past couple of weeks. So shout out to Ange and shout out to her for suggesting the topic and coming on tonight and talking to us about it. A lot of us are extremely excited about it, so I can't wait to hear what she has to say. And hopefully you can either. Got a special guest also in the back on the backstage. I see you back there. Listen, do me a favor. Let's take care of some housekeeping. Go ahead and smash that like button. Share the video, okay? Because we need to get this out to everybody. Everybody needs to be able to retire from their 9 to 5, just like Ange did, okay? And a lot of others that are with American Dream Trading. Now, what is American Dream Trading? That is a trading group that was founded by Chad W. Christian, who is a 32-year stock market veteran. He has traded in literally every market condition imaginable, and he trains us to do the exact same thing. We can trade whether the market goes up or down. We have been taught how to chart and how to properly enter, exit, and do everything in the middle when it comes to a trade. We don't chase call-outs over here. We actually trade. So thank you, Coach, for teaching us the proper way. Thank you for being the only coach on the planet who does it with an open mic and allows people to interact with him personally and actually trades us properly. And thank you so much for letting us come hang out on your YouTube channel after the market and just decompress and talk to each other and continue to focus on your strategies. So we love you. We love your face. Thank you very much. Shout out to Bruno. All right. Congratulations, brother. You deserve it. You are amazing. Thank you for all that you do for us, all that you have done for me personally in the way of just, motivation and extra things that we know about. And thank you, Bruno. Love you, man. And I can't think of a better person to be where you are. So for those of you who want to know who Bruno is, join American Dream Trading. How can you do that? The link is pinned. Thank you, Miranda, so much. I appreciate you. Love your face too. Is pinned to the top of the live chat. It is AmericanDreamTrading.com. And right now, if you sign up for a 6-month VIP membership, you will get a 6-month worth of VIP gold upgrade for free. I am currently editing a video that I will begin to play pretty much in the middle of the show where Coach breaks down all of these memberships for you. So look forward to that coming within the next day or two. But you can get 6 months and 6 months with the upgrade for free for only $1,500. And you can go on the website, AmericanDreamTrading.com, and figure out everything that's in there. It is amazing. You want to get that right away. Also, the second link in here is the Restream link. If you have questions that you want to ask Ange, if you have comments, if you've traded futures and you want to interact with her and compare notes, come on up here on the panel. That's how you get here is the Restream link, and Miranda has so graciously included that. Last but not least, it's part of my income. This is what I do. So please, please, please make sure that you are hitting that tip jar. If you think I deserve it, if you don't, because it's not necessary. But if you do, go ahead and hit sister off with a couple tips in there tonight. Let's see who we've got backstage. Okay, she is here, and we've also got Palm Coast as well. So, Ange, I'm going to go ahead and bring her up without further ado. Let's go ahead before we do that and get some volume happening on this music. Okay, let's get you in here, Ange. Welcome, sis. How art thou?
Let me in.
What's happening?
Oh my God. I feel like the last time I looked at the clock, it was 2:15 this morning.
Really? You have been going nonstop, huh?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes, I have.
Well, I can't think of anybody better. I mean, hey, you're up for it.
Sure.
I remember when you were sitting on this panel saying, I don't know what I'm going to do with my days when I retire. Well,
right.
I told you that was going to be answered, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's about balance though, right? So it's important to identify what you're capable of and where the line is drawn and stuff.
For sure.
So I think that's important to while I navigate these new things and stuff and develop a routine. It'll be great once I establish whatever that is.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but I know you're up for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I love the topic tonight. I'm going to keep this pretty straight to the point because as I've expressed that I like things that way. And I'm going to make sure that I'm out of here with my Irish goodbye at 5:00 so I can go to the gym and take care of my body and do the things that I need to do to keep up my own mental and physical health. But yeah, so, we have lots of new things happening right now. We've got futures that is here.
Yeah.
And all the things, right? So it's exciting. It's exciting for everybody. Everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to dive in and divulge and get involved and see what it's all about because you hear all the people talking about it, it's a great thing for us as a community to be able to offer such a great thing as we are very new in the futures piece of it. Those who come in now get to see it grow from here, which is awesome. It's a great thing to be a part of.
Yeah.
That being said, there is a certain mindset that goes into this that's incredibly important. One of the biggest things that we need to focus on is understanding what futures are. We need to know the basics. You can't just go and create an account and go and log in and just start trading futures. You need to understand how they operate before you ever consider it. So you need to know what the future contracts are, what they mean. You need to understand what leverage and margins are. You got to understand how those operate. What else do you got to know? You got to know like what the tick size is, what the different contract specifications are. You got to know all these things. And just because it sounds easy doesn't mean it is, right?
Yeah.
So with everything that we learn in life as we go, right? We learn sometimes the hard way. And some people are going to come in here and they're going to go balls deep and they're going to be like, oh, I got this. And they're going to get their heads ripped off. But if you do it the right way and you start from the beginning and you start with the basics, just like we did when we learned how to do shares for those of us who were new in the community, same with those who came in here and didn't know anything about options, like myself, who came in here, baby steps, right? So like I've made a transition real quick. I've made a transition from shares to options, and now I'm doing options and futures. I haven't done anything with shares. I've transitioned a bit.
Wow.
And I've done so to allow there to be that opportunity for training, more training, less trading, right? And it's all about that skill set and knowing the basics on all the things, futures included. The next thing that's important is developing a solid trading plan. Now, this gets applied to every piece of what we do, right? So it's not just shares, it's not just options, it's futures too. So we have to go in here with a trading plan. And I feel like it's more important now than ever because of the market timeframes that we deal with. Because now we can trade hours on end. Now we have this fruit in our hand that we can just come in here and do this basically whenever we want. And so we have to have a solid plan in place. We need to know what our goals are still, just like we do the shares and options. We need to know what market we're in, because futures has several different markets you can be a part of. So you get to decide, which market you want to be a part of. I have spent quite a bit of time with crude oil. So I'm getting to know the charts and I'm putting in the time and the energy to understand how they work and how to get in and out of the trades and all the things. But you have to have some sort of plan in place, and you've got to know what your risk tolerance is, whatever your capital is you're going to use to get started, since we can reuse it over and over again. And then most importantly, you need to know when to stop. You need to know when to stop trading, because if you're like some people, you get in here, you're going to overtrade and then blow your accounts up, or you're going to lose a ton of money. You may win a lot of money, with your trades because you're strategically doing it properly. And then the next thing you know, you didn't do something quite right and you've lost all your gains for the day.
It's
So
gone.
you got to come in here with a plan. And then know what your time frame is, right? Like, so if you're going to come in here and trade, like, know when you're going to be in here. When is your trading time going to be? What's your balance like? Because otherwise you're going to end up being here literally the entire time the market's open. And for most people, that's not healthy. It's absolutely not healthy. But it's still such a great, it's an important piece. It's great that this is new. We got to put in the work. We got to put in the time and the training. And we have to come in here with an open mind and, again, an empty cup, and be willing to just try to fumble through it a little bit and figure it out along the way too. Lastly is that risk management piece of that. I think it's one of the last ones. There might be more. Whatever. We're going to go with it.
Just one more.
Okay, risk management. So risk management, having those parameters in place and understanding what you are willing to lose when you're going into a trade, for me, is the most important piece of this. So I know when I go into a trade how much I'm willing to lose before I get out of it. And you're not supposed to lose more than 3% of our account, and whatever that number is, right? It can be far less than that too, if that's what your goals are. But we got to know what that parameter is. Use your stop losses. If you're not familiar with futures, and I mean, I saw this a bit with how volatile like some of the options are, a knife drop will slice your throat open. And while it's really cute to see it in paper, it's not very much fun in real life. I've experienced it. And it's a great learning opportunity. I wrote a whole paragraph about it in my journal. So journal it. Make sure you're journaling your stuff. But using your stop losses. Um, I use mine all the time. I don't go in there without it. After I had that knife drop happen, nope. Angela always has a stop loss. And knowing what your position size is too. Position size also is really important. Um, I'm still messing with that. I kind of have like a general like rule of thumb, but I'm still learning, right? Like I'm still learning how this works. I still like to go in with one or two because I can get in there and out of there as many times as I want. And the only thing I have to pay attention to really is just keeping track of the fees and make sure that am getting a profit. And for the sake of like meeting some goals, it's working out just fine. But I trust my mechanics too, right? So I'm very confident in what I do. So as we continue with this, those mechanics are only going to get better, not just myself, but everybody else as well. And then there's that technical side, right? So we have to master the technical and fundamental analysis that goes along with what we're doing. Let's use our indicators, right? We have all these indicators that we've trained on, that we understand how they work. We can use coaches indicators too. Those are very helpful. The same with the strategies, right? The 2-minute EWO. You can do it from both the upside and the downside. It's a great tool. I have my little sheet, right? And I printed this out. I printed this out back when I started. In fact, it's dated 1/1 of 24. That has the 2-minute EWO guidelines on it. I never looked at it. I put it away in my file and I've never looked at it since. Well, I've seen what it can do with the futures, right? So I'm paying attention to those technicalities that not just as a scalper that I can do, but that I can also do these 2-minute EWOs as well and still be profitable. And in some cases, more profitable had I not stayed in when I was scalping. So that's important. Knowing what the where is I going with this? The news, based on my research and the things that we've learned so far, like news triggers a lot of these things, and being just familiar with what is actually triggering the ups and downs of futures. So again, this comes back to spending a ton of time studying and researching, and it's going to take a long time. It's not just something that everyone's going to pick up in like a day or two. It's going to take a long time. If you do it properly and do it right, we'll reap the reward of our hard efforts. Bless you. We'll reap that reward, right? But we have to be willing to do the work now for that reward later and stuff.
Awesome.
What else do I want to say? Simulate. I know paper trading stinks, but do it anyway. Like I don't enjoy it either, but I do it. Whatever. And know your mechanics.
That's all I'm gonna be doing for the next couple of months with this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I'm sure you're going to hear it from everybody. Oh, this is so great! Like these are my profits look like, or these are my losses. Whatever the case may be, but for God's sake, you do the paper trading so that you know what you're doing. Experience what the knife drops are like when they rip your face off. Do that on paper. Watch it go clear to the toilet so you can see it dig into your margin. So you have an understanding that, you may have paid 90 some dollars for it, but if you continue to let that sucker dive down, it's going to eat more than just what you paid for. So look at that. Understand why that happens.
That's different. Now that's huge because people that are used to options are used to only losing what they put into it. So that's huge.
Yeah, it'll chew your face off. So you got to know what you're doing, right? So that's the whole point. Like you have to go in here with the mindset that you know nothing and that you're willing to learn.
Which we don't. Most of us anyway.
But
cool.
What else is on there?
You're amazing, dude. Thank you. I mean, seriously, this is, and I know you got more, but this is really, really giving us an incredible insight into it. I'm so proud of you for jumping in feet first and just killing it and crushing it like you are, and using the experience that you took from shares over to options, doing well, and now doing this and leading us in the charge. This is awesome. I'm excited to do it. I do not touch it though. I'm like you and Nate. I'm doing it right this time. Okay. I am not going to do anything until I'm absolutely sure of what I'm doing. So I will be paper trading for 2 months.
That's awesome. I hope you do. I think it's important. I think every single person should be paper trading until they can do this with their eyes shut. You
Yep.
know, I feel like I did that when I learned how to do options. You know, I did the practice that I needed to do until I got tired of practicing when I knew that I could hop in and be okay. Well, I hopped in and I'm okay. Um, so now it's exciting, right? Now I pay attention to that, but the work, the amount of time and energy that has gone into learning how to do shares and then options, you know, you can't just hop into anything, you know, and who, you know, and then what's next? Crypto, like that's exciting. But that for me, that's so far out. Like I don't have, because it's not even on my radar, I don't have any interest in learning another goddamn thing. I just don't. And here's why. And this is also important too, because I can apply this to both myself professionally and personally. I can know a lot of things and be a master of none of them. So I have to put my energy where I want to see my trading journey go. So if that means that I stayed with shares and that's all I did, then that's where I'd be the master at. If I did found that with options, I would do the same thing. But now I'm in a situation now where here's another shiny quarter and I have to make a choice. Do I want to be a master of futures? Do I want to be a master of options? Or do I want to be a master of shares? Because you can't master them all at once. You just can't. So I have to make a choice, which you obviously see where my choices led me, which is a whole nother ball game, right? But um, it's an important thing to remind people that, you know, while there are masterminds out there who can master anything they want just like that, 99% of us can't, and something will suffer for it. So you got to make sure that we're putting the right amount of time where it needs to be and for what it
What?
looks like for us individually.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, walk us through your very beginnings with the futures. Did you do a lot of paper trading with that, or?
Yeah. Yeah. And really for me, you know, and this comes down to my mechanics. I went in there with my cup empty and I said, okay, well, somebody said it was like something like doing shares with, you know, like the options mentality or something like that. I don't even know how that was worded or something. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, we'll figure that out. If that's the case, then, you know, I might be able to pick up on it. You know, it might make sense. And thankfully it has, you know, and it's made good sense and stuff. But I also know myself. I tend to just dive face first into things, like especially professional things, because I love data and I love to just get in there and get it done, right? And just prove to
Yeah.
myself I can do this. This is fantastic. But I also need to I know myself enough to know that I have to decide, you know, where are you going to put your energy? Where is most of your energy going to go? You know, and there's only 24 hours in a day.
Wow. So have you made a decent amount of money yet? Let's get to
I'm
the
doing
big
okay.
question.
I'm doing
Okay.
okay, like to the point where, you know, I don't have to do shares anymore. Like I don't have, and you know, my percentages that I've thrown out over the months,
Yeah.
I don't have to do that no more if I don't want to. No, I don't want to lose that skill, right? Like I don't want that just because I'm not doing it anymore, then I'm not going to just jump in there once in a while and just to, for the sake of practice, right? Like be, oh, I still got this, you know, and just be done with it. You know, I don't want to put it on the wayside. Same with options, right? Like I like options. You know, it took me a long time to say that out loud. But I do like them. I understand how they operate and it makes sense to me. Um, I see what that can do for me, you know, profit wise and what it can do for my family and you know, creating an income for me. I know where my line is for that, you know, and I can make that happen. But I also see it with the future side of it too. So it'll be having that balance. So for me, options, futures work hand in hand. And for me, quite frankly, it's the flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I'm a mom, you know, and I'm busy as hell. I am busy as hell from the time I get up in the morning until the time I go to bed at night.
Mm-hmm.
So having this flexibility to trade when you know, we'll use quotes of can, right? You know, because some days are easier than others. Um, I have that flexibility that I can do that, you know, and I have the tools that we're given here that I can do that on a regular basis. I have the trainings, you know, that we have that we've used for other strategies that they go hand in hand. And I just have to put in the little bit of extra work now so that I don't have to later. So all my favorite things to do.
You're right. Well, good for you. Good for you. We're proud of you. You're continuing to climb up that corporate ladder and make it happen. You guys have any questions for Ange, Palm Coast? You were here. Mark, welcome.
Yeah, actually, Ange, if you don't mind, would you be willing to share the difference in your mindset with shares and options versus futures, how it moves in relation, and how things compound against the other two?
Great question.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm so vague and I apologize. So for me, shares are slow. For in my what I've experienced so far, I feel like shares are slow. And so for that being said, even as a scalper, um, because I spent so much time in shares, it's like a knack, right? Like I could go in there and just do it. It for me it doesn't require much thinking. I know what I'm looking for. I know where my in and outs are typically, and I can get it in and out of that. And that for me, that's pretty. It's for me, it's standard or simple. Options, other than throwing in the options chart, and watching the charts and watching how the stock is moving. Um, that to me requires just a small bit more of a level of thinking where I have to, because it is newer yet, because I literally started doing options just before futures came in here. And I was being successful. It's being able to shut my brain off enough past the mechanics. So I literally think until the mechanics are done, and then once the mechanics are done, it's fire in the hole basically, where I'm paying attention to, okay, well, where's my out? What am I watching for? What are my indicators telling me? So there's a little bit more thought that goes into that. With futures, I'm finding that for me, it's putting everything that I thought I knew to the wayside and breaking everything that I know down to the bare basics again, like I did when I learned how to do shares, and only picking out the absolute necessities. Nate talks about this all the time about how he wants it to be as simple as possible. That's how I operate. I like things either in really good order or at absolute surface level. I like it to be the absolute minimum. I need to know that I need to get in at support and resistance, get out at support or get out at resistance or get out at support, whatever. I need to know when to do that. Outside of that, I don't give a shit. I don't. Like I need to know just the bare basics to be able to be um, the most productive I can in those trades. That being said, there's so much more to it than that. So it's a learning curve, right? So there's still like the learning things that I need to do, making sure that I understand what a ticker is, and open interest on the future side, like all those things. Like I still need to be able to understand what those mean, right? But outside of that, mechanically, I just want to get in and get out and be done. I don't want to put any more thought into it if I don't have to.
Yeah, I got you. So, like with shares, it's directly proportional, dollar for dollar, penny for penny. It moves accordingly. And then options is an extrapolation of that, where it accelerates. And then the downside, we know, can accelerate much more quickly. As far as like going, as far as going into a green trade, it drags a little bit. Going into, if an option starts moving against you, it seems to move more aggressively. It seems to take your money a little quicker, get you to that stop quicker. When you're getting into futures, is it directly proportional, an extrapolation, or kind of a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both.
Okay. And then your entry is, for instance, if you're in a $90 future, then is that dollar for dollar, or is it a representation like what an option would be? I probably didn't ask that very well.
And I'm too new to like be able to think about clearly how clearly that is, like what that actually means.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't ask it well. My apologies. So, for instance, if I buy a $90 future, I buy one $90 future. Do I have $90 tied up, or is it like times 10 or times 100? Or is it just, if I buy a $90 future, is it just $90 and then it's acted on by the market from there? Oops, I think we lost her.
Okay, let me go ahead and bring more. Okay, we got her back.
Okay.
Where'd I go?
I was like, I hope I wasn't that awful.
No, it like froze or something.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I got to think about this a second.
So first of all, I guess when I buy a $90 future in something, does $90 show that it's occupied, or is it an amount much different than that?
Isn't it, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it like 20 to 1 or something like that? Does anybody remember? I can't remember.
Well, it depends what the multipliers are. I mean, there's
That's
a
true,
five multiplier. There's 10 multipliers. Some of them are tenths.
So do you select them?
It's
Do you
a
select
tick
them?
value.
Well,
You
each one has its own multiplier. Each future.
Okay.
The guy over the top right would be more qualified to answer that than me. But yeah, like I was doing the ES ones. They go in quarters. So every quarter is $1.25 per contract. If it goes up 25 cents in price, you earn $1.25. Then I switched to gold. Every tenth is $1. So every dollar is, obviously $10. So there's differences between them all, and there's a list that's posted in our Discord that kind of breaks those down so you can see what they are. If you go in the education section of the Discord.
Okay. And then if something takes a big jump to the upside or winds up taking a knife drop, I don't know if futures are more as prone to the similar types of movements or not.
Yeah.
Okay. So for instance,
I think future trader might have an answer to your question.
Yeah.
Too.
You got to have margin. Margin has to back that up, depending on your contract, how much margin you use. So everything has to be backed up with margin.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, you have to put up collateral to be able to trade.
Yes, and it depending on which one you trade. Like Ange was saying, oil. I do ME. Mini S&P. Everyone's a little different. And each one. So in other words, like in Thinkorswim, you do one contract. You have to back it up with like $2,200 per one contract. So do the math.
Yep.
And E-mini.
And I think from what I'm just learning. I mean, this is really the first full day that I traded, and I did well because ones I traded went to the moon today. But what was I going to say now? I just went brain dead. Unlike contracts.
You didn't just go brain dead.
Wow.
I love you, Mark. I miss you.
Unlike a contract, if it drops, and I may be wrong on this, totally wrong, and if I'm wrong, let me know. Like on a contract, if it drops 40%, and you may have to get 70% gain from that 40% drop to get back to zero, back to even, right?
Yeah.
Because you got to make up, because it's degraded. That contract is degraded. So you lose 40%. I'm exaggerating, of course. You may actually have to get up to 50 or 60% back up to just break even from where you were for the drop, because of the way the thetas, the gain, all the Greeks are. But with a contract, I don't believe you have that. When it goes down, am I right on this, future trader?
Yeah.
If it goes down $1, you lose $1, but once it goes back up, you're back up to your dollar. Right?
Yeah.
Just like with shares.
Like a share, right?
Yeah.
So it's a leveraged share kind of thing, I guess.
Right.
So there's not much of a theta effect, basically.
There is not. Yeah, there is.
There's no theta.
There's none of the Greeks. You don't deal with any Greeks. It's like a hybrid stock trade and option
mix
without the Greeks.
It's like options that don't suck.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That's awesome.
Now it's also fixed too. Unlike an option, if you get a big gamma candle, I mean, you make, let's face it, you go buy a new Ferrari, right? But you don't have that. It's with a contract. It's a fixed amount. If it goes up $1, you make X amount of dollars. You don't make any more because it suddenly shot up.
That's what I was wondering, if there's an extrapolated effect.
No,
or
it's like a stock in that way.
here's a question, Ange.
Mm-hmm.
How much does it cost for leverage on one contract for oil? This will give
For
you an
crude
idea.
oil,
Yeah.
MCLX. So MCLX 4, 71.78.
Yeah. See. Yeah, it's different. Now, on Thinkorswim, I do one contract on MES. You're talking $2,200 per one contract.
Yeah, I think
Well,
Weebles is 1,600.
Yeah,
It costs
16.
It costs $96, but
Yeah.
you got to have 1,600 collateral or whatever.
Yes,
There's a term. It's not called
the
collateral.
only thing is the
It's
leverage.
called margin. It's called
Yeah.
margin.
I guess that's what Palm Coast is asking, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You just have to have enough margin / collateral to back up your trade in case things
But
go
like Ann
south on
said, man, you better put them stops in there. That'll eat you quick.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
telling
yeah.
you. I've had my face
yeah.
ripped off a couple times. And put them. You got when you place a trade, you put them stops in right away. You don't want to play.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about contracts. I mean, if the market decides to take a dunk, you know, you lose your premium. Oops, like you live to play another day. Whereas, or if this winds up dipping down and it's on a multiplier, you can be losing 5x, and then you're responsible for all of it.
Correct.
Is there is there an expiry?
Yes.
Yeah, there is expirations on futures.
You can buy different contract dates too. Like we're doing December, or what's the other one? March or something? Yeah.
March.
Yeah, I think it's quarterly.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Like I was doing oil years ago when it was only down to $6 on futures.
Wow.
And yeah, and then I held through a quarter. It was up to like $60-something. But then I had to get out. And then I had to rebuy again.
Yeah, you rolled it.
Yeah.
If it was the right opportunity.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a killer.
So just on a bizarre question, I realize I'm asking some pretty stupid questions, but
we don't know the answers.
No, we all want to know these answers.
Yeah. So, for instance, like when oil went negative, actually, does that mean that your futures also went negative?
No, that was the weird thing. It was at like $6.60. I didn't understand that part, but I think Go ahead.
Yeah, we reached a point in that collapse where we actually went negative on oil price for
it was like minus $230. I remember that.
Yeah, it's crazy. But your future didn't. But your future held.
No, that's what I didn't understand. That's when Russia was in major trouble when it went minus 230.
Yep. Okay, I gotcha.
I guess you remember that.
Gotcha.
That's the only thing that really concerns me about doing futures. I don't have, extra $20,000 laying around in an alternate bank account, right? So, I can't be. It can't be like let it go like I do contracts sometimes and drop out because they're going to come to my house and say, "Hey, you got a margin call. How about pay it up, buddy?" Right? So you got to really manage that, and the stops are important. So, as always, we're taught by coach to always have a stop.
Yeah, listen to Ann. She's doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Andrew,
I just like to do it. I don't know all the technical crap that goes with it.
Right. That's all I did. Just trade to trade. I played.
I'm just using mechanics. I'm just using mechanics and how I know how to get in and out of a trade, and it's a winning opportunity.
Okay. But without the effects of like gamma and theta and stuff. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. Plus you don't use up settled cash. You can keep trading that same money all day long. You sell one contract, get out, and you're at a profit.
Yep.
You get to keep trading all that money, right?
That's it. That's what's awesome about it.
For a small account or people with heavy schedules, that's that's really incredible.
Well, the danger too is then you overtrade. The more every time you enter another trade, you're putting your account at risk again, right? So
because market dynamics shift and absolutely different day parts for sure.
You have to have that discipline.
Yeah, I tend to overtrade, but by the time I start whacking a couple red ones, I just quit.
Yeah, you got to know what your limits are.
Yeah, I quite often just go till I see red. It's like keep banging out green trades. Sometimes I'm on a rhythm and I can just hammer them all day. But if it's like if I for some reason if the market changes the rhythm, then then I and I can't realign myself, then I just quit.
Yeah, well, we're fortunate. We do have some experienced members that have some experience with futures, however limited that may be. But, like Future Trader and Aaron and
One of
Ange
which is Aaron.
and Troy and a bunch of others, a few others in there to have some experience trading. So we're all learning together,
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to hearing from all those people for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Welcome to the panel, Aaron.
We can't hear you, buddy.
You're muted.
No, I'm sorry. We still can't hear you.
Audio settings.
It's like he's got no mic on or something.
It may not be assigned on the restream.
No, we just told Don to keep him on mute.
Yes, Hamilton, you can trade. Yes, you can trade future options, but that's way, 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 way above our pay grade. Let's learn futures first, straight futures.
Right.
Compounding on compounding. That's got to be exciting.
Yeah.
I'll pass on that.
Well, effectively, you do the same thing when you buy more shares, right? I mean,
well, there's all kinds of stuff you can do.
Yeah, if you buy 1,000 shares and and then you buy, it's just I guess it's the same thing. The more you buy, the more risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's swaps. There's all kinds of things you can do. Just crazy. And there's a way to make money. Somebody will make a convoluted way of doing it. Make it sound exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Ange's idea. Get in, get green, get out. Follow similar mechanics. Don't overcomplicate shit. If you don't have the Greeks to deal with, that's gotta be helpful. Yeah. And I know Ange's gravitated towards scalping, and I very much share that passion. So I'll be looking forward to hearing what you have to say moving forward, Ange.
And I think
I just like to trade it.
Yep. The other downside is the fees, because the fees are considerably higher trading futures. So you just can't make $5 and jump out, because your fees are going to be more than that. So you have to be in there long enough, or depending on your ticks, whatever. You got to factor in the fees for your green. So you could if you break even, you lose money. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Right?
Is it a flat fee, or does it go with what you're earning?
No, it's a flat fee, right?
Okay, so it's not a percentage. Yeah. Okay.
You know what it is when you enter it.
Okay.
Can you give me an example of what it would be for one future of something? I don't know. What's the proper term? One contract, one future.
One future contract. Yeah.
Is it a future contract? Is that the proper term?
Yeah, Thinkorswim is like $2.60 per one contract.
Okay.
And then when you get out, another $2.60 on the way out. So you have to pay on
what?
the way in. Yeah,
you got to clear
both ways,
$5
in and out. Yeah, it's in and out.
You got to pay in, then you got to pay out. It ain't
how long do they expect you to stay in this thing?
So you make money. I mean, long as if it goes. Who was it? Was it Ange? Did you say that today in the training? That generally, as long as it goes up one tick, it'll pretty much cover your costs as a general rule. Well, not always. Gold wasn't. Gold one tick was $1. So.
Yeah, not always, but I mean, if you know your mechanics enough to know how to get in on support and resistance and so on, and how that operates, I mean, you can typically gauge that you're going to make a profit as long as you know your mechanics. Now, there are those one-off situations where those knife drops happen, or the spikes happen, whichever happens first. It can happen where you may break even, but you got to know what you're doing. I wouldn't suggest anybody get in there and just hope
go
something
willy-nilly,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched a video this weekend that was saying you want to play off of how Coach is always talking about he plays off of double tops, double bottoms, things like that. And I noticed on this video that they were saying you want to really sit on your hands and kind of wait for that either supply or demand zone to happen in order to get into it, and then just play the counter trend, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't work off.
Have you tried that? Do you do that, or?
So you don't work off.
I get in there and scalp.
Really? Okay.
I like to look for support, and I look for the double tops and the double and triple tops and bottoms. I pay attention to those things too. But I really truly am getting in there when what I feel is like the absolute bottom and when it's going to pick back up. I haven't done anything like with candles really to I'm way too early for that to even consider that a thing right now. No, I'm not saying that I won't in the future, but it's really just breaking it down to the basics and figuring it out.
So you like trading off of support rather than resistance? More
I can do
so.
either or, but either
Okay.
or is fine. Yeah, either or is fine. I like going from resistance like back down. I don't know why, but I don't know. I like how it is. I don't know if it's because it's opposite of what I'm normally doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy that part of it and stuff. But I just like to see my mechanics be successful.
Awesome.
Hey, Ange, did you tell them that you can long or short futures?
Yeah, I saw that that's a thing now on I saw when I
Yeah,
did the update, it came up.
yeah, you can do long or short, just like you do options.
Yep.
That's what I thought they've been telling us all along. Like as soon as
Yeah,
it goes down, you can literally flip the script and go
yeah.
down. That's
Is it
amazing.
working now?
Aaron,
Yes,
yeah, I
yes,
just
Aaron. Yeah, we can hear you.
Here we go.
Mhm.
Awesome.
John B. Yes, there is an L2 for futures. We found out today it's really pricey. $11 a month real time L2 just gives you basically an L1 type look. The actual L2 that we're used to seeing in Weeble for like stocks and stuff, like $38, and then it gives you 10 lines, which is plenty. But yeah, we were discussing that pretty heavy today, whether we were going to, it's even worth using the L2. I'm so used to using it, I'm kind of, So I think I'm just going to have to trust the EWO from what Future Trader said last Friday about just play the EWO, play your supports and resistance, and play the EWO with it.
That's great. That's crazy that
Yeah.
you can hold that overnight and it's not going to change value.
Yeah, I just don't see myself paying $38 for real time L2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably. I mean, you're talking $50 a month before you even make a trade on top of fees.
Mm-hmm.
So you better be making some good damn money with this thing because
Right. Yeah, it all adds up. It really does.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael, for the tip. Appreciate you.
And just to answer some of Palm's questions, so the leverage that you get on futures is a 20-to-1 leverage, unlike on options is 100-to-1.
Okay.
And I guess the similarities between futures and options is there is a contract price, but unlike options, futures you can lose more than that contract. And then the way that what they were saying as well is the tick rate that you get on each product is a little bit different. So one movement of $1 in the underlying future represents different amounts depending on the product that you use, but the leverage that you have on futures is a 20-to-1 leverage. But like I said, you don't have that cap on your position size like you do in options of only losing the premium. So it's a combination of both, I guess you would say, stocks and options, but it's its own product, right? So you got stocks, you got options, and then you got futures, and you got forex and bonds and stuff. But they all have their little difference in trading each one of them, and that's I think everybody said, and especially Ange, you got to know the product, right? You got to know the product that you're trading, to know the risk that you're putting on, so then you could create a correct risk profile. So
Essentially, it's an infinite risk to the downside.
Yeah, you could be margin called if you hold on to a future contract and it doesn't come back up. You could lose more than what's in your account, 100%.
Yeah, people need to know that. That's for sure.
Yeah, it is.
You get wiped out. You get wiped out on shares. You might, something might tank, 70, 80, 90%, but you don't, you can't lose more than what you spent. Same in contracts, you might lose your whole contract price if it expires. But on this, you could actually get completely wiped out if you're trying to let something roll around.
Yeah, and like what Hamilton just put in the chat, for the people that have the strategy of holding overnight. If you're not watching your futures contracts or your futures position, you could be losing money as you sleep, and you could wake up and it not be in a position where you could come back from. So
Well, hey, Aaron,
yeah,
Aaron. Now, also with futures is say you put a position in at 4 o'clock p.m. and you come back at 7 o'clock, and you set your stop at 4 o'clock. That stop
right.
wipes
It
Oh,
out.
closed.
You
yeah.
You
don't have
have
that
it's
stop.
just like end.
You got to
Yeah,
get
your
them.
end of day on that market because it does close for an hour.
Yep, you're on
Yeah,
the day with the stop
for
also.
maintenance, that also closes your stops as well. So
Oh wow.
Yep, that could be very dangerous
Okay,
too.
that's all good stuff to know.
Yeah.
So if you come back in after maintenance, and that thing drops like a rocket, your stop is wiped out,
yeah,
Good to know.
and you can really lose your shirt.
Okay, so
Yep.
That's
it's
why
not like
I
it just blows the
for
stop; it
that.
just erases the stop.
Correct.
Just
it's
takes
like
it
end of
out.
day on a contract,
They,
right?
they,
And like a GTC, good until
yep.
close. I haven't seen again. I don't know Weeble's platform enough or futures. Haven't traded them on multiple platforms, but I don't know if you could put a good till close. It sounds like you can't. Maybe future trader that you could verify that it doesn't have that
Yeah.
futures.
You
I think,
once you get that 5 o'clock, that stop's
yeah,
gone. Then when it comes back into play, I think it's after 6 o'clock. You gotta see where you gotta put that stop back in there if you're
Okay.
still in.
yeah.
So that could be a little
Yeah,
dangerous.
this is a much higher risk profile, and this is something that
Much.
you need to be babysitting like nonstop while you're in it, especially while you're learning.
Yeah, it's just going to take a different
Yeah.
strategy. Yeah, and you got to know all the detail, right, to create your risk profile of all these different nuances that are built into futures and how they trade, right? So it's just you can't take your strategy that you had on options and copy and paste it over to stocks. The same thing with options and stocks. You can't take that same strategy and copy and paste it over into futures. Each one you're going to have to build a new strategy, or a lot of it's the same. We're looking at charts, right? I mean, most of it's the same. If we're scalping and day trading, I mean, futures are probably really good for scalping. To get in, get out, find those little pops, and get out of it, right? But that might
Yep.
not be your strategy from, like you say, if you trade intraday options or you're a long-term investor on shares, you're going to have your own, figure out your own strategy on the futures because of the nuances that futures carry. And then just like, options are pretty standard as far as, each one has, it's 100-to-1 leverage. It follows the underlying stock. But each strike price has its own Greeks built in, and that's kind of the same similarity as far as all futures products has their different details as far as what the tick rate is for the movement of that underlying future contract. So, and then they all have different rollover dates or expiration dates. I think the indices are quarterly and oil is monthly. That's not, everyone has its different ones. CME Group will have it, but so each one's going to have different rollover dates or expiration dates for that as well. So it's going to have, you're going to have to know different details within that strategy, applying it to your futures position and trading.
Good. Ange, Mike Deal asked in the chat, can someone explain a workflow prior to actual trading? You're the master of that. Can you do that? Can you explain a workflow prior to making the trade?
No.
Come on, Ange, you can do it.
No.
She's like,
I am out.
That
I
might be an
have 30
expensive
seconds
workflow.
until I leave. Okay?
Okay.
I have 30 seconds before I dodge this shit.
Talk fast then. Talk fast.
come on, girl. One
Cool.
last
So then-
question. Indulge us. And then you can go be a mom the rest of the night.
I don't even know how to answer this. I'm so spent. What was the question? I'm so sorry.
What's your
I
work?
literally-
What do
I
you
gotta
do
press
before
the
you
button.
enter a trade?
Went to a trade. What's your
Yes,
workflow?
fine. God damn, I'm so tired, guys. What am I thinking about before I get in a trade? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your workflow?
Okay, it's the same shit, just different subject. I wait until it gets down to what looks like support, and I get in. Same with it gets up to resistance. I get out, vice versa. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, get the fuck out of here. Get out.
Go
Get
away.
out. Bye. She
Well, I'll
is
tell you,
done.
it
I'm
would
so
apply.
done.
Yeah, you are. Your brain gets to be mush. I mean,
I'm seriously
It
like
does.
I can't even
yeah,
barely put a thought together.
We
But
know.
no,
Hey.
And
in
she
all
did
seriousness,
yeah.
Yeah.
in all seriousness, right? Like I have to trust my mechanics when I come in here. I have to know when to get in at support and when to get out. Same when I'm coming the other direction. If I'm getting in at resistance, I got to get out at support. I got to just trust that I know what I'm doing. And if I don't, then I don't have any business being in here, right? It's all mechanics, guys. And there really isn't
Yep.
anything any harder than that. The other crap that I don't know, like all the fruits and fuzzies, I'll get there eventually. But for right now, I just like to trade.
Yeah. I mean,
love it.
you shouldn't trade anything, whether it's stocks, options, or futures, or whatever else is out there, without knowing what your support and resistance lines are. You have to scroll
Exactly.
back in the chart and look at the historical data. Where did it touch? Did it stop here multiple times? Draw a line there. Same way, support and resistance. Should trade without a roadmap. And if you don't know where your support and resistance lines are, you have no business entering a trade. Then, so now you got a little bit of a roadmap. So now, like Ann says, you know where your support is. You can wait in the weeds down there till it gets there and then ride it up, or know where the resistance is, like she said, and write it down once it bounces off, if it does, right? And then, using your indicators. Coach supplies us with the VIP members and up with his indicators. We use those to help us stay in trades longer. The 2-minute EWO, whatever philosophy you want to look at, whether you're a scalper or you're playing an EWO, you apply that to your trading style. And that's one of the beauties of coaches. I don't know if I hate the word systems, but it kind of is a system, right? For scalping, for intraday trading, holding on longer, whether it's 10 minutes or 2 hours or 10, whatever. There's things that he teaches us, those things, so that we do have confidence in knowing what we're doing once we practice those and put them into play. So we just don't jump willy nilly in something. That's guaranteed to get your face ripped off, whether that's stocks or, on up to the most risky thing. So,
Aaron, I have a quick question for you. You said that you want to maybe develop a fresh strategy, if you will, for futures. But is it true that if you do master stocks and options or one or the other, that you can kind of carry that skill over? Does that at least help you in that? Because it is similar, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
like what Ange said earlier on is, she mastered scalping on shares, right? And that did
Yeah.
carry over to other things. And she keeps it simple, right? She says it, and she just wants to know when to get in and when to get out. And that works for her strategy. And that's not everybody's strategy, right? So,
Right.
but at the same thing, knowing your product, right? Thing, and it's just kind of what everybody said at the beginning. I'd first say, if you weren't here at the beginning of this live, to go back and watch it, because it kind of laid out that mindset and that workflow, that discipline that you need. You need to have a risk profile. And you need to know how to develop that risk profile. So if you're trading options, what do I need to look at so I could create this risk profile? What's going to affect that profile that I'm creating? The strike price, movement. So each one's going to have its own flavor. So that's what I'm saying. Like, the own strategy is, most of that stuff you're going to be able to copy from one to another. We're looking at charts, right? We're looking at charts. Chart moves up, chart moves down. There's buyers and sellers, and when things get in balance, things move a little bit, right? So the basics, the very basic of it, it's all the same. We're looking at charts, but the product of when we hit that buy button, how it affects the dollar amount that we're in our position and the risk that we're taking on when we hit that buy button. I like to know. Like, I want to make sure that I have a risk profile before going into any trade, and I need to know certain parameters that account for that risk profile. And if I'm trading something that has 100-to-1 leverage, and my cap is my investment on the strike price, my premium, well, that's going to change it, rather than if I'm going into like a future that that I can lose more than what I put in. So I'm going to have to base my risk profile off of different things. So that's where I'm saying, like, you need to know and kind of create a new strategy, but the
Yeah.
new strategy might have a lot of that same techniques that you've built off of other things that you've traded, because essentially we're trading charts, we're hitting the buy button, we're hitting the sell button, right?
Right.
But
Right.
everybody has a little different strategies. Somebody likes to do scalping. Well, even within scalping, there's differences. There's people that like to scalp a candle. People are just looking to get a candle or two out of it. Some people
Mhm.
like to get a little bit longer of a run and waiting for it to prove to them, to tell them to get out. And then there's also, there's just so many different strategies of this thing that we're doing, a trading. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we just need to be aware of who we are as traders, what lane that we like to stay in, and what we're good at. And when I'm speaking to a larger audience, and it is, it would behoove us if we didn't find out these informations. And maybe it's a lot of information that you don't need to know. And she says that she just wants to get in and get out. Well, I know her from what she shares. She's a master scalper. She just gets in and gets out, and she doesn't want to know the rest, and that's fine. And there's a lot of people that are in this, and government cheese. He's not here today, but that's all he's been carrying. He doesn't know. He doesn't want to use an indicator. He doesn't. Mark reminds him of too many EWOs, and he doesn't want to know that. He tells us that in the pre-market, and he's done a killing at, right. And that's what it is. Is he's found his lane. He's found what he's good at, and he focuses on that. And that's what
Yes.
everybody needs to do that. But since we are talking to a larger audience, and we are broadcasting, this across, live, and everybody that's listening, is there are different nuances. It would, again, it would behoove us if we didn't know the different nuances. And if he says, oh yeah, it's just the same from one to another, and essentially it is. There's a lot of it that we do, and Coach has proven that to us. Is he can take a lot of his product from one to another, but there's also some underlining things that we need to know. Like a future, it's a 20-to-1 leverage. Options are 100-to-1 leverage, and stocks are 1-to-1 leverage. You get one price movement. So that there's a little bit difference in that, and each person, depending on their strategy, could then can create their risk profile. So like a workflow for anybody, if they're asking, is to have a trade plan. I mean, write down a trade plan. That's a workflow, right? Write down what kind of trader you are. Have it in detail written down, so you're not jumping all over the place. Have a risk profile. Coaches 1 to 3%. I mean, I haven't heard of that. I mean, it's a really simple thing, but how do you apply that? Well, you as a trader are going to have to figure out what your account size is, what that 1 to 3% is, what type of strategy that you're going to be going in. Are you going to do stocks, options, and potentially futures? And all of that is is something personal that nobody else could figure out except for that person. So the 1 to 3%, it is going to carry on from options, stocks, and futures. That's not going to change, but what it means to somebody else, what it means to that trader, is a lot different. Somebody with $1 million account is a lot different than somebody with $1,000 account, but it still works. That the coach's rule still works, no matter if you come in with a $500 account and want to grow it, you still stick with it. Well, when you grow it to 100,000 or 20,000 or 10,000, you're still going to have the same rules. You're not going to slide that up and say, well, my account's bigger, so now I can have a different. No, that's not.
Right.
That's not. It's going to stay the same no matter what, and you're probably going to have a much smaller risk profile once your account gets larger, because that number is a lot bigger. 1% of $500 is a lot different dollar amount than 1% of $1 million. But so you'll want to have probably as your account grows, you're probably going to want that to be more down on the 1% than 3%, but it gives you a variance. So when you do have a small account, you want to come in here and you're learning, you're trying to figure this out. You have some room to grow, and maybe you have to have that all planned out. So a workflow is making sure you have a trade plan, making sure you have a risk profile built out in front of you on paper that you could look at before you hit the buy button. Because once you hit the buy button, it's live, man. You're
in.
That stock moving up and down, and it moves quick. Sometimes it's watching paint dries. Other times it's free falling off the top of the skyscraper, right? So that's what we can't control, but we can control our risk. That's one thing we can control in this game, is our risk. And each person's going to have to apply that. So What that is for each person is going to be different, and the workflow for that is making sure that you have it all planned out prior to hitting the buy button. So as a new trader, that's one less thing that you have to worry about when you're in a trade, because you already have it planned out. You already have the numbers drawn out. You already have it in your head that this is the range, these are the stocks, and this is the position that I could get in, because I don't know nothing, and I need to learn what an indicator is. I need to learn what a candlestick is, right? So broadcasting it to the majority, I don't know what the level of each person is. If they're learning what a candlestick is, or they're learning how to set up their charts and apply a 9 EMA, and what's the difference between EMA and SMA. Well, the last thing you need to be doing is figuring out what your risk profile is after you hit that buy button, because the only thing that you're concerned about is trying to make a quick buck, right? So having that all planned out prior to hitting the buy button is going to make it a lot less stressful when you do finally get used to looking at a chart. You do have it charted out in your support and resistance lines there, or you know what you're looking at on a particular stock, and you've gotten familiar with that, the screen time staring at something. All of that is the homework. All of that is, quote unquote, the screen time that it needs to take. And it's not always just staring at a screen. It's writing it down on paper. I mean, Nate, he's one, really successful. You ask him over and over again, what did he do for 6 months before he did anything? Or what did he do before he hit the buy button? He paper traded, not the simulation on a trading platform. He wrote down on a piece of paper with a pen or a pencil what his entry price was, what his exit price was, and then watched it. So he truly paper traded. So if that's what you need to do to get to a level where you're comfortable, because you have the discipline to know that I don't want to lose the hard-earned money that I have, well, then that's what you need to do. So each person's going to have to assess this for themselves and figure out where they're coming into this game. And some of us that do have, quote unquote, experience doing it, well, I did, but I didn't have the day trading. I didn't have the scalping techniques down. So I had to empty my cup. I had to put a lot of that stuff to the back burner. But I still came in there knowing what a candlestick is. I came in here knowing what indicators are, and a lot of things that somebody brand new isn't going to have. So each one of us is going to have to empty our cups, and whatever that means to that person is going to be where the success lies. When you can empty your cup and apply strategies in its purest sense and make this super robotic and get away from emotions. And that's probably one of the hardest things we do. And we talk about it on the show a lot, Don, and we, all over and over again, is the psychology of trading is our mind, right? And is once we can make this as robotic as we can, the more successful that we're going to be. And what I found over the years, the more crap that I take off my charts and the simpler that I can make it for myself, easier it is for me to get in and stay in a trade, or to get out when I need to, because I don't have all this gobbledygook on my charts and all these gobbledygook indicators just proving different things, and this thing says that and that thing says that, and they're telling me different. It's just nonsense. So that's the beauty about this, is making this thing simple, trying to keep it as simple as we can. I mean, that's, again, Angie's a perfect example. She doesn't want to know. She'll tell us over and over. She just did. I don't care. I want to hit the buy button. I want to hit the sell button.
Crack fix.
And I want to be done, right? And that's eventually what we get to. It is that simplicity, right? And some of us want to know a little bit more and want to dive down into some of these things, because that fits our strategy a little bit. So
Nate's another one. He doesn't care what stock it is, what they do. You know what I mean? What their balance sheet says. He just wants to know in this moment, what's the momentum telling him? What's the L2 telling him? You know what I mean? And another comment I wanted to make, a lot of us, we better get real good at getting those stops in there, because that's a mechanic that if you're not using it with futures, it sounds like you're going to be in some real trouble if you don't. So
can I add one thing about the futures?
Yep.
One thing I can say, and Aaron probably could tell you, one thing about futures, it's super liquid. No matter, you go 12 o'clock at night, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4, 5, 6, not like the penny stocks that we play with. It is 100% liquid. You can get in and out at any given time, and the volume's there. That's another plus with futures that I
because
really
it's the biggest market out there, right?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
technically it's the third. So the first one would be Forex. The second one would probably be bonds. Third one would probably be futures, and then the stock and options would be the fourth.
Yeah.
But we don't really talk about the bonds. I think Troy brought that up, and he's right. You know, that probably does have the biggest, you know, I don't want to say market cap, but as far as funds running through it. But Forex is the currency market is the largest market out there. However, to piggyback on what Future just talked about, is futures is a high liquidity product. It is established a long time ago, and the big boys do play in futures. There's a lot of banks that are constantly in futures, and not only the futures trade in America, it does also trade overseas. So you're always going to have liquidity in there. Unlike penny stocks that we see in the morning, it might be something that's moving that's 20 cents, and there might be a couple of people that have a little bit of money in there or some money in there, but it's not the bank. You know, it's not the largest institutions in the world trading that. And we might get stuck, and that's been talked about where, you know, it's hard to get out of a certain amount of contracts. I mean, you know, I've heard it and I've done it too, where I have to like break up my 1,000 shares into little $200 to $500 increments to get out of a positions that. But to what Future's saying is, you don't in futures on futures contracts. It's typically, once you stay with the larger ones. I haven't traded every single one, and I don't know all of them, but you stay with the big boys, the top, you know, 5 to 10 or 30 or whatever. You're going to have that high liquidity where you're able to get in and out and not have any problem doing that. So,
yep, I found that true. Even with paper trading, it issues them quicker. So.
Well, this has been a terrific show, gentlemen. Thank you all for being here. Anybody have any more questions they want to throw out to either Future or Aaron, since they are our resident experts right now? Mark, you did well today, didn't you, Mark, on your paper trading?
Yeah, I made 200, and I think I topped out at $216 on my one contract on the ES.
Nice.
And then I played around, just jumped in gold for about 15 minutes, made like $17 on one contract. So,
nice.
Yeah, because I'm the world's greatest trader, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I was going to say
everything. Everything went up today.
Mark holds that title of the world's greatest trader, so
I wish.
I mean, no expert in his presence, you know, in Mark's presence.
Yeah. I'm far from that, believe me. I'm very far from that. But no, it was interesting today only because I played the EWO on both of them, and they both went up all day. So it really wasn't a hard trade. When everything goes one way all day long, anybody can make money, right?
Absolutely.
It's so easy a caveman can do it. But when it's choppy and going up and down and very volatile, and you got
don't insult the cavemen, man.
Yeah, look at crude oil at the end of the day, seeing if you didn't have a stop in your position and you're going long on that thing would have ripped your face off, you know. So you know, just like anything else, we got to know the nuances of this product, right? And that's all I should want to stress. And I'm just learning. I'm not anywhere into being an expert, you know, but I do like to know things, and I do like to spend time learning about it, and I do like to share it with others, and then they could take that information and apply it, and that's all we do. I mean, ADT is a great family for that, right? We know it.
Yep.
On the shows that we have here, when I first started, and you know, the morning crew in the morning, you know, with everybody, and especially you Mark and Nate, and everybody there now with Ange, and but it's everybody. We really want to. It's people helping people, right?
Absolutely.
We really want to encourage the people that are thinking about doing it, that if they put the time and effort into it, they can be successful at it, right? And it's not for everybody. We know that, and everybody's going to have to find their different lane to stay in. And you know, we say it all the time. You know, what works for me might not work for you, but this is what I do, and I'm willing to share that. And with the group that we have, there's a lot of different traders with a lot of different strategies that we could all learn from, and then we could find our own lane to be in. So again, I know we're getting to the show, and I just want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for having me on the panel, and thank you for Don for always hosting such a wonderful aftermarket show. And then thank you for Coach for allowing us to be here and making this thing happen for all of us. So
it's always fun. It's always fun when you're making money, right? But when you're losing money, well, then This ain't no good, right?
Don't want to know nothing from
Future,
nobody, right?
right, right. Well, I mean, futures is just another tool to make money in your toolbox, right?
Yep.
Stick with what you know. If you know stocks and you're good at it, stick with stocks. Throw a little bit of
Yep.
this, throw a little bit at it. It doesn't hurt to, especially when, the thing I'm excited about is the pre-market because now I know I can trade futures if I want to, when things are slow, right?
Hmm.
How many times we sit there and there's no volume?
Absolutely.
There's volume in the futures, right?
They're
So,
going
but there's
right.
You
also
were
danger.
making money this morning.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
So, the thing that scares me about futures is it really is kind of, I mean, I think they'll cut you off before you lose a whole lot, too much when you go over your margin. But, there's that danger, the downside of getting a margin call. And that would be the last thing. With contracts, I can only lose X amount of dollars. Stocks, stocks drop. I still own the stock. I own that equity. I can always, if worst case scenario, I can hold on to it till it goes back up, whether it's the next day, the next week, next year, whatever. Right. So you own part of the company when you buy a stock. So unless the stock goes bankrupt and gets delisted, you know, hopefully someday if you make a bad call, it may go back up. I've held stocks that don't, right? And they never moved, and finally you just get rid of them. But
Yeah.
with futures, there's that added little risk that makes you think twice about recovering from a drop and then getting hopium. Oh, it might go back up. So you got to factor those things. It's like anything else, risk management.
Well,
Yeah.
But it's another
Mark,
tool. It's another tool. It's just another tool, right?
it's,
Hmm.
it's a lot about learning. And right now, it's the unknown to most people. But once you get to learn it, it won't be so scary to be the unknown. Just like when you started
Oh
trading,
yeah,
you know what
oh
I
yeah,
mean? So
definitely.
as you go along, you'll learn different things, and you'll get it.
Follow coach's rules.
That's
That's
it.
You
right.
know,
And we got Future Trader in here. He'll make sure we know what we're doing
His
for
name says
sure.
everything.
That's right. People love that show Friday Future, by the way. So thank you again for that.
yeah,
That
You're
was
welcome.
amazing.
I'm glad to be part of it.
Yep. Absolutely.
yeah. Got a
Tommy,
lot of
thank you for the
positive
tip.
signs, but
Shout out to Tommy. Thank you. I appreciate you. Um, okay, so is that it for everybody? Everybody got all their questions answered? Everybody that's down in the chat, thank you so much, Miranda, as always. Thank you for being an angel and putting the links in there. Thank you everybody for coming and giving Ange your time. She put out a lot of information today and we appreciate her greatly. She's off doing mom things now. And everybody here on the panel, Mark, it's good when you can get back on here because I miss you. You always have good information for us. Aaron, thank you for making it in and sharing everything that you share with us future as well. You know what I mean? It's amazing. Palm Coast, thank you for the awesome questions because I'm sure we all had those same questions.
oh yeah,
So yeah, it's been
yeah.
an amazing show, and I look forward to the rest of the week. Anybody have anything to add before we go?
I'd say see you at 4 a.m., but I might be 3 a.m. now for 2 a.m. Now we got futures.
We go in there.
Maybe
Mark's already been trading for an hour.
I did this morning. I started. They got in that one trade at 3, so
Wow, that's awesome.
that was
Kick
funny.
ass, man. All right,
Yeah.
everybody, have a fantastic night. And we're going to end with Matt. Shout out to Matt for his testimonial. Don't forget, Dawn at AmericanDreamTrading.com. If you have a testimonial and you want everybody to know how you feel about what ADT has done for you, go ahead and send it over to me. Make it a minute to 30 seconds long. We'll go ahead and edit it up and put it on the show, okay? Everybody have a fantastic night. Peace and blessings.
Good night.
Buddy.
Hi, my name is Matt. I trade with American Dream Trading. Formerly, I was trading with quite a few online platforms, YouTube channels, celebrities, etc. I found myself upside down six figures and completely lost, not knowing where to go. Only until I found American Dream Trading and coach that I was able to pull out of all that and be successful on a daily basis trading. Coach is the real deal, authentic, genuine. You have truly an open platform where you can ask any question live and you will not feel like it's a dumb question. if you're taking this serious, if you look at this like a business, I think this will take anybody to new levels. And again, thank you, Coach, humbly.
Yeah. Hey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Never lose more than 1 to 3% ever of your total account value in any given day. Always make sure you have stop losses on each and every single trade, whether it's shares or options. Make sure you guys are practicing base hits. Don't be trying to go for those home runs. Everybody be cool with that. Every once in a while you get the home runs, but that comes back to our other rule. Let the runners run and stop out the losers, all right? So if we're getting hammered on something and it's going against you, just get out of there. If you're new to trading, do not trade in the first 30 minutes of the day or the last hour, ever. And if you are new to trading, do not use real money. You should be using simulated trainers, and you can use them on all sorts of different accounts. TD has them. TradingView, you can do rewinds. There's all sorts of stuff. Don't come in with real money blowing up your account. That is not how you want to learn. I want to make you a stock market trader and not just another call-out chaser.